Scoot aside, Baby Yoda. We have Baby Vision. And oh my god, does this episode have a recast beyond all recasts? Oh my god! Hey everybody, welcome to KM Reviews. I am Niddleman. Today we are talking about episode 5 of WandaVision, which is the longest episode so far at 41 minutes, although obviously a bunch of that is credits. Now, a lot of people thought they might be dropping episode 5 and 6 today, but it was just episode 5, darn it. But this episode brought a lot of changes to this show, right? The first couple episodes, black and white, third episode, color, fourth episode, outside the wall, the fifth episode, it's now taking place in the 80s, and it is basically inside the sitcom era of things and outside the hex, as they call it. I keep calling it the bubble, but whatever. We kind of are getting both perspectives here. Now, we're getting a lot of changes, not just in the pacing of the show, which is much improved, but also the characters themselves, right? We have Vision and Wanda going through the most changes in this episode, especially Vision. To me, this is a really Vision-heavy episode, not in terms of the duration of how long he's in it, but in terms of what is happening with his character. And I'm going to say right here, because I haven't really spoiled anything yet, there are going to be spoilers in this video. I should have it in the title of this video. There are going to be spoilers. I'm going to be talking about this episode. If you haven't watched it yet, please watch the episode, then come back. We'll get to what I'm talking about with the recasting at the end. But I'm going all over the place here. This is really off the cuff because I'm just spewing this out. I literally just finished the episode. Anyways, let me gather my thoughts. Let's break this down into things that are happening within the hex and things that are happening outside the hex. Now, outside the hex, we have Monica Rambeau. She's getting scanned. She's getting blood work done because she was inside there. They don't know what happened to her. They're looking at her clothes and all this sort of stuff, trying to figure out what happened to her, right? She's talking about the fact that she could tell Wanda was in control, that she felt despair. She felt basically like it was this terrible experience, even though it was all happy-go-lucky in the episode. She herself felt really basically shitty the whole time she was in there. We discover her clothes are basically the bulletproof vest like that she had was turned into the pants, right? Like, so Wanda is essentially completely changing reality. We all already kind of knew that, but it's more confirmed now. They notice that her brain scan is coming up empty, or it's all fuzzed out or whatever, and her blood work, they need to do it again. Now, in the comic books, we know she ends up being somebody with superpowers. It could be that this is a lead into the fact that maybe she's starting to get these powers. Maybe something Wanda did to her in there combined with her whole experience, and who knows what. Maybe this is the hint that she's going to be having these superpowers. I don't know. That's my theory. They also realize that basically what she's doing is, we all already kind of knew from the last episode, that as things go into the hex, they are changing to what fits into that era. So they realize, if we send something in that doesn't need to be changed, maybe we can control it, right? Because they've been trying to send in drones and it hasn't been working. So now that they're in the 80s, they send in a drone with 80s technology so it doesn't have to change, right? So now they have a visual inside this hex. They go to Wanda, they see her. She obviously is not very happy about this, but this also confirms the fact that she is the one editing the footage. They're talking about how it's not showing up in the show, and they're basically pointing out that, as we all already kind of knew, Wanda is basically editing the show as it goes along. The director of S.W.O.R.D. apparently wants to launch a missile at her now as a backup plan, which, this guy, man, I don't like the S.W.O.R.D. director. I kind of liked him in the last episode, to be honest, but this episode I realized that he's kind of a douche. And he's also not that bright. Like, really, you're going to fire a missile at Wanda Maximoff? What, you think that's going to do anything? She freaking almost killed Thanos. You think a little missile's going to do anything? All he does is piss her off. He's poking the bear. She then leaves the hex, right? This was a big moment in the show because we realized, oh, she knows what the hell's going on. She basically gives them all a big warning, like, stay the hell out of there. I got my home. You do your business, I'll do mine. Stay out of my hair, and I won't hurt you. And she basically has everybody turn their guns on the S.W.O.R.D. director, proving like, look who's in control here, biatch. We also have Randall Park's character. He's obviously not getting along with the S.W.O.R.D. director either. He's trying to give out info there, and the S.W.O.R.D. director is just kind of proving he's a lame wad that needs to be replaced by somebody, I think. Talk about what's happening inside the Hex. Oh my gosh, so much happens here. I'm probably going to miss stuff because I'm saying this off the cuff. There's going to be all sorts of in-depth breakdown videos online. This is just I just watched the episode and here it is. But we essentially see the kids, they're babies. Agnes comes in and she knows her character's interesting because she's essentially like, she comes in there to watch the kids and something's not right. She's like, do you want me to like do it again? And Vision is kind of like, what? And Elizabeth Olsen acts like it's not a big deal. But again, this episode, we find Wanda really not trying to hide her powers anymore. She's not rewinding or glitching anything. She's just letting stuff happen. And Vision is realizing everything that's happening, obviously very questioning this whole episode. Like, what is going on? What is the deal? But he's not being glitched or rewound.
I think something's wrong here.
There's no need to get dramatic.
Did you really not see what I saw?
I'm not sure why, but we see Agnes is obviously a lot more aware than I think we realized too, because she's not necessarily freaking out like the other people are that when they realize what's going on. Like when Vision wakes that guy up at his office, he kind of freaks out. Agnes, it's almost like she's in on it, right? And a lot of people think that she's this witch lady from the comics, whatever. I'm not that knowledgeable on the subject, but she definitely seems like she's a part of it. Now, then we see the kids stop crying, and all of a sudden they're like little kids, right? Like they're normal kids, like they age like boom in front of Agnes. Agnes doesn't think it's weird. Vision is like, what is going on right now? And Elizabeth Olsen acts like, what's the big deal? It's just how it is. Then they get the dog Sparky. Sparky also dies all within one day. And this is where we get a very interesting moment, okay? Because we get Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, talking to her kids. And she's trying to give this therapeutic advice that she's being very hypocritical about, because she needs to really take the advice herself, where she's talking about how, death is a part of life. And they're like, you can bring the dog back to life. You can end death. Like, bring the dog back. What the hell? And she's like, no, you guys got to get used to this. Is just part of what happens. Meanwhile, that's something else we didn't talk about. They had video footage of her going and getting Vision's corpse. And a lot of people weren't sure in the last episode if this is actually like Vision's reanimated corpse, or if it's just like a hallucination, hologram, whatever power thing. They pretty much 99% confirmed that Vision walking around, that's his reanimated corpse, which is pretty messed up because they had kids. So she had kids with the corpse. It's a thing. That whole scene I thought was really interesting. I think it's pretty obvious, as everyone already kind of knows, this whole situation is basically a big therapy for her. The commercials. The commercial was for something called Lagos paper towels. Again, there's going to be breakdown videos. I'm sure that means something really important that I'm not thinking of, but because everything else has, but I'm not sure what it is yet. But yeah. Comment below if you know what the Lagos thing was. I'm sure I'm going to be like, oh yeah, but I don't know right now. Now, the kids want to age again because apparently the kids are very in control too, right? They're not oblivious to everything that's going on. And it's interesting because they can basically control their age. And she's like, no, don't age up yet. Like, I want you as kids, because they've already aged a couple times now. So it'll be interesting in the next episode to see if they age up again, or how old they get by the end of this show, and if they're at the end of the day a full figment of her imagination, or if somehow she's actually manifested life. That would be crazy. But then we end this episode with the accumulation of Vision's whole worrisomeness about everything this whole episode, right? From the moment at work where he wakes the guy up, and Sword had sent the email that he saw. He kind of does something to the computer and then wakes the guy up and then puts him back because he's freaking out. And we realize Vision knows this isn't right, what she's doing, right? He basically tells her, like, what you're doing is wrong. Like, this is not okay. Like, what the hell's the deal? I don't even know who I am. And he gets all pissed. They fly up. They have this standoff, right? Which was interesting. I was like, oh man, are they about to fight? And she's like, you've never talked to me like this before. What the hell? And he's like, obviously he's having his own little mental breakdown. Like, I don't remember anything. Like, what is this? And she's just wants him to be happy with what they have. Like, why isn't this enough? And obviously this is going to be getting heated up even more in the next few episodes, as we've seen in some of the trailers. He's obviously going to be trying to escape Westview. He's asking her, what's outside of Westview, you know? And she knows, like, dude, you're dead, so you don't want to know what's outside of Westview. And I think we've seen kind of what happens when he leaves, right? His head even looks a little concaved in. We've seen this in the previews. It looks like he leaves, and I think he's going to leave and turn back into his animated corpse and freaking die. And WandaVision is going to go freaking either bring him back in or she's going to flip out again because she lost him again. But boom, drum roll. What happens? What is the most amazing thing that's going to have people talking about this whole episode besides all this other craziness? That last recast that we see. Oh my God. Now, they've been talking about having a cameo that's Luke Skywalker level in the show. Let's be honest, this isn't Luke Skywalker level at all. But it is an amazing cameo, and this is going to be driving people wild. The internet is going to explode. Why? Because we have Evan Peters as Quicksilver, right? Pietro, her brother. You see the back of his head. At first I was thinking, oh, maybe it's the actual guy from Ultron. But nope, they have Evan Peters, who also played Quicksilver in X-Men, who is now the recast in the MCU of her brother. What does this mean? This could mean so many things, or it could mean nothing. Why could it mean nothing? Because it could just be a simple nod to the old X-Men movies, and they're using him as a recast because they couldn't actually get the other actor. Who knows? But obviously they know what the hell they're doing, right? This is the MCU. They have things so planned out. But the question is, like, is this officially introducing the X-Men? Or is this going to be something where, you know, is this another guy in the town that's just being mind controlled, and when this whole thing goes away, he's just going to be a regular guy, and this was just like a wink to the X-Men movies? Or is this one of those things where... are they introducing the X-Men and this whole multiverse thing? Did she somehow create this older multiverse that somehow brought the X-Men in? I don't know. I guarantee you there's going to be hour-long freaking theory videos out there and stuff. I want to know what you guys think. What is bringing Quicksilver from the X-Men movies into the WandaVision show? What does that mean to you? What are your theories? Please comment below and let me know. Let's talk about this. It's insane. I remember sitting there like, and the next episode cannot come fast enough. I'm curious if they're going to start using him in the promotional materials, or if he's just going to be like gone the next episode after he like says see you later. I don't know, but this show is blowing my mind. The way this show is progressing, my biggest question now is, you know, as this is the longest episode so far, the way the first couple episodes, right, were all black and white. I'm curious if they get to present day in the timeline. We have so many shows nowadays that are an hour long. I wonder if the shows are going to continue to get longer to match how long shows are in the timeline that they're representing. Does that make sense? So if they do a show in the 2000s, are they going to have like a hour-long show because that's how long our shows are now? You know, I don't know. That'd be nice. I definitely want the show to be longer because it goes by so quick. And it's so good, and then it's done, and I'm like, and I can take a breath. Oh, man, I'm going to have to go rewatch that episode because it was awesome. And I don't know. I guess that's really all I have to say about that.